Dhīra jana priyam priyakadam Nirmasaram pujitam Sankha purvakarama gananatibhi Kalavasanikkritam Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna, good morning from Eastern Canada. Welcome to the weekly Bhagavad-gītā reading of the Bhagavad-gītā As It Is, which is the unedited, unadulterated version, because there have been many changes done to the Bhagavad-gītā by the members of the ISKCON group. And this is not following the instructions of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda, our founder. Do not change anything, because the truth is captured in the words of a bona fide spiritual master. It's called Guru Tattva. This principle of Guru Tattva is the essence of understanding bhakti yoga. In other words, if you associate with the pure devotee, you get a pure message. If you associate with a person that's pretending to be a pure devotee, that's pretending to be self-realized, and is interested in practicing the guru business for personal gain, you'll be misled. Now, someone could say, why are you fault-finding these spiritual people? Well, that's a real question of how spiritual they are when they pretend to be on the position of Uttama-ācārya, accept disciples, and they are not. And the karmic reaction is there. So one thing about karma, it's a law that is irrefutable. And karma can be devastating. Recently, I had a chance to meet a friend of mine who I've known for 35, 40 years. And because they have lived a life of frivolity, material sense gratification, and utter stupidity, when I saw the person, I couldn't recognize them. Despite the fact that they were only 58 years old, they looked 85 years old. That was yesterday, by the way. And I thought to myself, this law of karma is severe. And it's inflicted on the conditioned soul, especially it can be inflicted while you're in this body. For example, people that take on the role of initiating guru, guess what they have to do, Krishna Das? when they're in that position. They have to accept the karma of all of their disciples. Oh my God. What a disaster. Philosophically, it's a disaster for someone to have to do that and then see what happens to them. And we can see it in front of us. It's apparent. Yet someone will say, how come you're criticizing? Well, it's not about us criticizing, we're just explaining. But the laws of karma are dealing with it. And it is not a joke. The man is walking around, the living dead. Can't speak, can't think. All they can do is suffer in the material body. And we've seen that right in front of our eyes, and yet people still deny it. Karma is there. So it's very important for us to be careful in our presentation of this philosophy and stay fixed on Guru Tattva, the principle that Prabhupada is living with us in sound. Yes, Prabhupada has not left us. I put a post, and by the way, it's interesting to note that people are eager to learn this. Yesterday I posted a section from Chaitanya Charitamrita, and in less than one day, we have 5,000 views. 5,000. Why? Because there is an eagerness amongst people to hear the truth about the position of Srila Prabhupada as a bona fide spiritual master. And they're sick of the hypocrisy of other people. They're not interested. Oh, why are they listening? Because they want to know. Prabhupada said this in a lecture. He said, there's no use of taking on a spiritual master unless you're very serious. If you're not serious, taking a spiritual master is not a fad. It's not show bottle. It's a understanding of the importance of associating with a bona fide spiritual master and seriously taking up the process under his direction so that you can get out of this material world. This is not an easy thing, Krishna Katha. We are entangled, and the mental plane is a plane of mass confusion. Here we're seeing all these people that have gone to the Gaudiya Math, that have gone to the Ritvik groups, the Prabhupada Nuga groups, and they're all in mass confusion, speculating on the mind of what is this or what is that, what is the philosophy. The only philosophy that we should represent is the teachings of Srila Prabhupada without any change. And we want to mention, by the way, a great thank you to everyone that contributed to the reprinting of the Srimad Bhagavatam Delhi editions. This is a great achievement for us as a group to come together and work cooperatively to represent Srila Prabhupada in these beautiful books that he presented to the Western world back in 1965. Actually, he brought them there. He's got the picture of them. So beautiful. And by the way, I just wanted to mention, I originally got my set from one of our godbrothers, Maduha, in North Carolina. And I got them a few years ago. He was secretly selling them from his trailer when he going around to the ISKCON groups. The ISKCON groups had forbid him to sell these. Oh, you can't do that. And there was a conflict, I know in Toronto, with Bhakti Marg Swami. He was saying, don't bring these books across the border to my zone. Oh, yeah. So, quite crazy, especially for a person that claims to be a Prabhupada disciple and a representative of him in the disciplic succession as a so-called bona fide spiritual master. What an hypocrisy. And not only an hypocrisy, a complete misunderstanding of this philosophy. For example, this person said I don't like to hear some of the comments in Prabhupada's books. I have to block my ears when I hear them. Like the 4 regulated principles. Huh? No illicit sex life, no meat eating, no intoxication, no gambling. Oh, I don't want to hear that. I don't like it. It reflects the understanding, so-called, of this person, of Guru Tattva. The business of the devotee is to represent the spiritual master in his words without any adulteration, without any change. But these people, like the people in the ISKCON movement in Krishna Katha, you're very familiar with somebody in San Diego who is busy doing this constantly. And at our class on Wednesday, we heard Garuda explain how this person justifies his bogus interpretations of Srila Prabhupada's books without any real qualification, just a third-class person. So this is something we're fighting against with the release of the Srimad Bhagavatam Delhi editions. Although there's some so-called grammatical corrections that are necessary, not really errors, and there may be some spelling mistakes. The essence of the philosophy is captured at the highest level when you read these books carefully. And it is very important, everyone, in this group to study and read these books. Because then you'll be able to understand. How can you understand what the taste of honey is if you don't dip your finger in the jar and sample it? You can't. So a lot of people, they never read the books. They don't chant their rounds. They don't study, but they've got opinion. Oh, I've got an opinion. You misunderstand this philosophy. Yeah, okay. Do you chant your rounds? I asked one person online the other day, who is your guru? You know what his answer was, Yaśodā? It's none of your business. It's private. Oh, it's private, eh? Why is it private? Why are you keeping it private? Are you embarrassed? First of all, you don't have a guru, but you've got an opinion. That's what you've got. And everybody has an opinion, just like everybody has body odor. We all have body odor, so everybody has an opinion. But an understanding of philosophy based on Guru Tattva, no understanding. Just speculation, mental speculation, mental chaos, and mental confusion. That is the material world, and everyone, we are insignificant in this world, and if we stay on the material platform, like I just described, we will never get out of the entanglement of repeated birth and death. Never. There is no option. There is no other way except taking shelter of Srila Prabhupada in his transcendental literatures, in his Vani incarnation. I defy anybody to refute this. I defy it, anybody. And by the way, Krishna Katha, I do put my phone number up when I put up these posts. I put up a recent post a few days ago from Chaitanya Charitamrita, everyone, and we have 4,700 views in 24 hours. Yes, because people want to know. And if anybody thinks they know, call us up, please. Our numbers are publicized. Our emails are publicized. Get in touch with us. Let's have a dialogue, not a beat up. Just because you're a dissenter from a specific policy in a group doesn't mean you should be beaten up or harmed or assassinated or defamed, character assassination, because you don't agree with a particular group. And that goes on in the ISKCON group, and it has gone on for 50 years. No change. And we are the living proof of it in 2024, and we're going to move forward. I always try to think, how can we enjoy this association? And the best way is through seeing Prabhupada's diary. And Rupesh, I believe you're hosting us today, I hope. I did send over the pages from the diaries for our review with our group. Rupesh, thank you. So here's the first page, and look at that. That's a picture of the first Back to Godhead. Look at that. And Prabhupada told us that the Back to Godhead was the backbone of the movement. And at one time, we used to distribute over 500,000 Back to Godheads a month in the heyday of the ISKCON movement, when there was real Sankirtan. How many do they do now? None. Why? Ask that question, everyone. Because this movement that represents Srila Prabhupada has missed the order of the spiritual master. And this is the proof. Oh, that's not true. Well, how's 500,000 to 5,000 or 2,000 or whatever, or none? Back to Godhead is done. And here we'll go forward. Here's some other books that are very interesting. Go down there. Over to the left, please. I think I sent the individual pictures. Yeah, here we are. Look at this, Yaśodā. This is the original cover for Easy Journey to Other Planets. Quite interesting. And we're planning to reprint this book. The original text, I don't know if we can get the cover. If anybody has original books like this, please get in touch with us. We could use them in our campaign to reestablish Prabhupada's Vani in his original books, unedited. And then moving forward, who is crazy? The middle one, look at this. Very, very basic. And this was done by ISKCON Press in New York back in the early days. And look, an essay by Swami A.C. Bhaktivedanta. So that's how Prabhupada had posted his name. He wasn't calling himself Prabhupada. And look at the simple cover. You can't judge a book by looking at its cover. Oh, can't you see you've misjudged me? I recorded that song, actually. And then the next one is an introduction to Swami Bhaktivedanta. Sankirtan Movement, an essay by Hayagriva. So he does an analysis. Never seen this before. Have you, Krishna Katha? No, this is all fresh information. Fresh information for us. Let's go ahead. Keep going, Rupesh. Here we're looking. Go down, slide down October 25th. I wanted to keep this page. Go down, slide down, please. In the middle of it. Books are being sold. You see that? Right. Look at the number, 99780. Books are being sold. Well, there's a propaganda campaign by Srila Prabhupada to disseminate the truth. And this is part of the constitution of ISKCON that he introduced when he launched the society. And here he's working forward, and you're seeing that the Lakshmi is increasing. And this brings vitality, just like the money that came in for our reprinting of the Bhagavatams is bringing vitality to this group. And those people that have donated, you're all blessed by Lord Chaitanya for this effort. This was a chance, and it still is a chance for people to donate. Today I got a money draft sent from Colombia for $108 Canadian from a Prabhu there saying, please add this contribution to this fundraising drive, which I support 100%. And I'm stepping up the best I can. I hardly have any money, but I'm going to give $108 to this campaign to save myself. The benefit is to the person. sometimes I can't understand why people won't even make any effort to do this, and they're claiming to be Prabhupada disciples. So this doesn't seem right. Keep going there, Prabhu, to the next slide I sent. Look at this beautiful picture of Srila Prabhupada in the early days, so serious, so committed to this philosophy. Take a close look at this, Prabhus. Understand what this movement is about and who the bona fide spiritual master really is. And people that criticize us for preaching this, they have to look at their own spiritual life and be careful not to commit the mad elephant offense of criticizing devotees who are propagating this mission based on these principles. Watch yourself. You're making a big mistake. Loose lips sink ships. And here we have, we'll read one more thing. This is a letter from Prabhupada, 26 2nd Avenue. And just look at this. He's got a letterhead now and an address. So thinking ahead how to do this, very, very valuable. Look what he puts, the trustees. So this is for people to see, in India especially, how he's advancing. My dear Jonas, I thank you for your letter of the 25th instant, and I have noted the contents carefully. I have complete agreement for the arrangement that you desired to make it in connection in the exhibition at Montreal. Yes, we shall go in a batch for performing the kirtan ceremony, both in the exhibition pandal as well as in the university hall, and you can arrange in that way. And guess what, Prabhus? This is where Yaśodā-nandana first saw and heard Srila Prabhupada chant Hare Krishna. There it is, right here. Here things are improving, and people in New York taking in imports the Krishna movement. The enclosed papers and newspaper cuttings will give you an idea. We have already published some new literatures, namely Krishna, Reservoir of All Pleasure, Who is Crazy, Introduction to Bhagavad-gītā, Back to Godhead, etc. And our society is coming in prominence daily. We are just trying to purchase a property in New York at $90,000, and the students are taking the responsibility. Thus, I think there is good prospect for this society being a world organization, and you might try to have a center at Montreal as soon as possible. So Prabhupada was thinking, working locally, thinking globally. Work globally, work locally, preach globally. Under separate post parcel, I'm sending you all above newly published literatures, and I request you enlist as many subscribers for Back to Godhead magazine, just like we encourage you to subscribe to the Hare Krishna channel, YouTube channel, and listen to these classes, because we have to submit at least 200 subscribers' names to the postal authorities for getting an occasional rates. We only have 1,200 or 1,300 at Hare Krishna Society. It's disgraceful. Disgraceful. It should be 200,000-300,000. I'm glad to learn that you are chanting regularly, and I hope you are gradually getting some enlightenment in Krishna consciousness. Our path is genuine, sublime, and easy. So there must be a worldwide organization for pushing the movement, not broken down cults that are fragmented throughout the world, working under the direction of imposter gurus, for pushing the movement in the human society, so much afflicted by material advancement only. This is the only medium to save people from ruination. How about nuclear war, everyone? Which we are on the verge of. As my representative, you can see Mr. Luthra and arrange things as you think best. Whatever arrangements you will make on behalf of the society will be accepted by us. I understand that you have done some French edition of my writings, including the essay which you have taken with you. I have now about 150 sets of Bhagavatams with me, and we've ordered 2,000, or we're in the process of. Please let me know if you have already sold these sets that you have taken from here. Hopefully you are well with my good wishes for you and your wife. So this is an early letter from the Bhaktivedanta Archives has, so the new letterhead with Janardhan Das, who was helping to establish a center in Montreal. All glories to the Sankirtan movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the service of the Prabhupada Disciples Association, Hare Krishna Society, to preserve Prabhupada's legacy in his original books. Let's move forward with the chanting of Jaya Radha Madhava and the Bhagavad-gītā lecture and discussion with Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, who's no longer in the snow in Twain Harte, California, maybe an earthquake or two.
Sai. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Sadasyaman Bhakti-Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavindra ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Sri Radha Krishna Go Gopinath Sam Kund Radha Kund Girivardhan ki jai. Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Navadvip Dham ki jai. Swami Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Ganga Mai ki jai. Jamuna Mai ki jai. Tulasi Devi ki jai. Bhakti Devi ki jai. Swami Bhaktivinoda ki jai. All glories to the assembled Lord. All glories to the assembled Lord. Thank you very much.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord, Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you from Srimad Bhagavatam 1:1:1. Narayanam namaskritya Narayanam namaskritya Naram cheva narottamam Naram cheva narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet Tato Jayam Mudirayet. One should utter the means of conquest, Srimad Bhagavatam and Srimad Bhagavad-gītā, after offering respectful obeisances, one, to the personality of Godhead, Narayana, two, to the Narayana Rishi, who is the supermost human being, three, to the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, then four, to Srila Vyasadeva, the author, from Srimad Bhagavatam 1-4. As we do every week, we will be reading a few selected verses that were introduced by Srila Prabhupada in 1966 in New York when he was lecturing on the Bhagavad-gītā. Very important. We invite all of you to join us. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Sri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Svapadantikam. When will Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, who has established within this material world the mission to fulfill the desire of Lord Chaitanya, give me shelter under his lotus feet? Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahaguna Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master and unto the feet of all Vaishnavas. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of Srila Rupa Goswami, along with his elder brother Sanatan Goswami, as well as Raghunath Dasa and Raghunath Bhatta, Gopala Bhatta, and Srila Jiva Goswami. I offer my respectful obeisances to Lord Krishna Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, along with Advaita Acharya, Gadadhar, Srivas, and other associates. I offer my respectful obeisances to Srimati Radharani and Sri Krishna, along with their associates, Sri Lalita and Vishaka. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostuti. O my dear Krishna, you are the friend of the distressed and the source of creation. You are the master of the gopis and the lover of Radharani. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. I offer my respects to Radharani, whose bodily complexion is like molten gold, and who is the queen of Vrindavana. You are the daughter of King Vrishabhanu, and you are very dear to Lord Krishna. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and who are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Again, welcome everyone for this reading and discussion on Srimad Bhagavad-gītā. As we do every week, we will be reading one or two selected verses from the Gita Dhyanam, which is 8 verses in the glorification of the Bhagavad-gītā. These were given by Srila Prabhupada in these lectures in 1962. Trying to get the exact date here. Okay, we're reading text number 6 and text number 7. Saravo Panishado Gavo Dugda Gopala Nandanaha Parto Vatsaha Sudhir Bhukta Dugdam Getam Ritam Mahat. Oh, very nice. Bhakta Rupesh, thank you. Thus, just this Gita-upanishad is just like a cow, and the Lord is famous as cowboy. And he was, okay. And he was milking the cow, Sarva Upanishado. And it is the essence of all Upanishads and represented as the cow. And the Lord, being expert coward boy, is milking the cow. And Parto Vatsaha in Arjuna is just like the calf. In Sudhir Bhokta. And learned scholars and pure devotees, they are to take this milk. Sudhir Bhokta Dugdam Gitam Ritam Mahat. The nectar, the milk of Bhagavad-gītā, is meant for learned devotees. Text number 7. Ekam Shastram Devaki Putra Gitam. Eko Devo Devaki Putra Eva. Eko Mantrastasya Namani Yani. Karamapi Ekamaptasya Devasya Seva. Not a world should learn from the Bhagavad-gītā the lesson. Evam Shastram Devaki Putra Gitam. There is one scripture only. one common scripture for the whole world, for the people of the whole world, and that is this Bhagavad-gītā. Devo Devaki Putra Eva. And there is one God for the whole world, is Sri Krishna. And Eko Mantrastasya Namani. And one hymn, mantra, one hymn only, one prayer or one hymn is to chant his name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Eko mantrastasya namani yani, karmapi ekam tasya devasya seva. And there is one work only, that is to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If one learns from Bhagavad-gītā, then the people are very much anxious to have one religion, one God, one scripture, and one business or one activity of life. This is summarized in the Bhagavad-gītā. That one God is Krishna. Krishna is not sectarian God. Krishna, from the name of Krishna. Krishna means, as we have explained above, Krishna means the greatest pleasure. So therefore, this was some lecture in New York on February 19, 1966. We will proceed with the reading of our text today from Bhagavad-gītā. Today we will be reading from chapter 11, text number 12 and 13. We are running a little late, so I'll try to do this a little quicker here. Text number 12. Divi Surya Sahasrasya Bhaved Yuga Padartita Yadibaha Sadrishi Sasyad Bhashastasya Mahatmanaha. Divi, in the sky, Surya, sun, Sahasrasya, of many thousands, Bhavet, there were, Yugapat, simultaneously, Uttita, present, Yadi, if, Baha, light, Sadrishi, like that, Sa, that, Syat, maybe, Bhasaha, effulgence, Tasya, there is, Mahatmanaha, of the great Lord. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. If hundreds of thousands of suns rose up at once in the sky, they might resemble the effulgence of the Supreme Person in that universal form. Purport. What Arjuna saw what is indescribable, yet Sanjaya is trying to give a mental picture of that great revelation to Dhritarashtra. Neither Sanjaya nor Dhritarashtra were present, but Sanjaya, by the grace of Vyasa, could see whatever happened. Thus he now compares the situation as far as it can be understood to an unimaginable phenomena, thousands of suns. Text number 13. Tatrekashtam jagat kritsnam prabhibhaktam manekadha apasyad deva devasya sharire pandavastada tatra, there, ekastam, one place, jagat, universe, kritstam, completely, prabhibhaktam, divided in, anekada, many kinds, apasyat, could see, deva devasya, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, sharire, in the universal form, Pandavaha, Arjuna, tada, at that time. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. At that time, Arjuna could see in the universal form of the Lord the unlimited expansions of the universe, situated in one place, although divided into many, many thousands. Purport. The word tatra there is very significant. It indicates that both Arjuna and Krishna were sitting on a chariot when Arjuna saw the universal form. Others on the battlefield could not see this form because Krishna gave the vision only to Arjuna. Arjuna could see in the body of Krishna many thousands of universes. As we learn from Vedic scriptures, there are many universes and many planets. Some of them are made of earth, some are made of gold, and some are made of jewels, and some are very great, some are not so great, etc. Sitting on his chariot, Arjuna could see all these universes, but no one could understand what was going on between Arjuna and Krishna. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine. So this section of Bhagavad-gītā is actually very important. Everybody is aware of the creation of the atomic bomb. When the atomic bomb was created, the creator of this deadly device spoke and quoted a verse from the Bhagavad-gītā. This verse number 12, Divi Surya Sahasrasya Bhaved Yukapaduttita. If hundreds of thousands of suns rose up at once into the sky, they might resemble the effulgence of the Supreme Person in that universal form. It's quite significant that Mr. Oppenheimer, despite his great intelligence, material intelligence to create this bomb, he had recognition of this very important verse on the Bhagavad-gītā. Now, the impersonalists are very basic. The Mayavadis and Advaitavadis have basic misunderstanding of many passages in this chapter. It's important to note that although Krishna manifested this amazing form of this universal form, or Vishwarupa, still, later on, we will see in this chapter, he reminded Arjuna that the real form, it is two-handed form of Krishna, Shyama Sundar. Very important to understand. There are some classes of transcendentalists who misunderstand the position of Krishna as an avatar of Vishnu, avatar of Narayana. But the reality is that Krishna is the origin. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. We see in the Brahma Samhita, our Lord Brahma explains the unique position of Lord Krishna. Ramadi Murti Shukalaniyamena Tishtan Nana Avatara Makarad Bhuvaneshu Kintu Krishna Swayam Samabhavat Paramapumanyo Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. That all of these different avatars are manifested from Krishna. Krishna is the origin of all the avatars, including the form of Narayana or Vishnu. Can you excuse me? I got a rough throat today. Very important point. Another point that has to be understood in the section of Srimad Bhagavatam dealing with the story of King Prithu, because I know that both Vishwakarma and myself have come under some criticism from people who basically say, well, who are you two to criticize anybody, especially those people are acting as gurus or spiritual masters. Well, here's the issue. In the story of King Prithu, I'm going to read a few sections from Srimad Bhagavatam. This is from Canto 4, Chapter 15, Text 23. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 15, Text number 23. Prabhupada says in the purport, O gentle reciters, offer such prayers in due course of time when the qualities of which you have spoken actually manifest themselves in me. The gentle who offer prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead do not attribute such qualities to a human being who does not actually have them. Prabhupada goes on in the purport, although Prithu Maharaj was factually an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he rejected those praises because the qualities of the Supreme Person were not yet manifested in him. He wanted to stress that one who does not actually possess these qualities should not try to engage his followers and devotees in offering him glory for them, even though these qualities might be manifest in the future. If a man who does not factually possess the attributes of a great personality engages his followers in praising him with the expectation that such attributes will develop in the future, that sort of praise is actually an insult. Prabhupada goes on in the next verse, how could an intelligent man competent enough to possess such exalted qualities allow his followers to praise him if he did not actually have them? Praising a man by saying that if he were educated, he might have become a great scholar or a great personality is nothing but a process of cheating. A foolish person who agrees to accept such praise does not know that such words simply insult him. Now, this is a very important issue because we see that certain persons do not understand the philosophy properly. It's one thing to think that one is situated on a platform of Nikunja Yuno, or a liberated soul, or the sum total of all demigods. It's another thing to be factually situated on that platform. Prabhupada goes on, text number 25, translation. As a person with a sense of honor and magnanimity does not like to hear about his abominable actions, a person who's very famous and powerful does not like to hear himself praised. Text number 26. King Prithu continued, my dear devotees, headed by the sutta, just now I'm not very famous for my personal activities because I've not done anything praiseworthy you could glorify. Therefore, how could I engage you in praising my activities exactly like children? So this is quite significant because some persons do not seem to understand the philosophy that Prabhupada has presented. Many are very quick to allow themselves to be glorified, even on the level of Nikunja Yuno, without understanding the philosophy that Srila Prabhupada has very kindly given here. It's not difficult to comprehend. It's not difficult to understand. It only becomes difficult when there are obstacles like Labh Puja Pratishta, the desire for name, fame, power, prestige, money-making, self-aggrandizement, very dangerous enemies for a prospective Vaishnava on the path of bhakti. One has to be aware of these problems and eliminate these problems. Profit, adoration, and distinction are some of the biggest enemies of any Vaishnava. One should guard against this and be intelligent enough to distinguish between the praise that is rendered to a bona fide, self-realized, liberated Acharya and one who is still in a neophyte stage, whether it is the Kanishta neophyte or Madhyam neophyte. One has to be very careful. Otherwise, one can incur great blame and great problem in his spiritual life by accepting worship, which is meant for the topmost Mahabhagavata. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 24, text 330, there's a very clear explanation that only such a person, a topmost Mahabhagavata, can occupy this position of guru. to whom it may concern. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Haribo, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you for this discussion today. And I wanted to go back to the purport for everyone's reference of text 13. I thought it was quite significant in terms of understanding our relationship with our spiritual master and with Krishna. So, text 13, yes. Let's go down there a bit more to the purport at the bottom. So, here is the interesting point that Prabhupada makes. Sitting on his chariot, Arjuna could see all these universes, but no one could understand what was going on between Arjuna and Krishna. So here Prabhupada's giving us an understanding of the intimate relationship between soul and supersoul, and how Krishna consciousness becomes revealed to the individual soul. It is through the practice of devotional service under the guidance of the spiritual master. This is the fundamental principle of Krishna consciousness. So Guru Tattva, as you were discussing, Yaśodā, is the essence of this philosophy. And we are very fortunate as a group to be positioned in that way. And I wanted to read, if you could go, Rupesh, to Anchalila, chapter 20, text 28. Anchalila, chapter 20, text 28. Because this has struck a nerve on the internet. There's a thing called viral transmission of philosophy or points of view on the internet. And it's very difficult to spark that. But somehow or other, there has been a spark. We have over approaching 5,000 views of this purport in the last 24 hours. 5,000. So here it is, translation. Whenever there is a relationship of love of Godhead, its natural symptom is that the devotee does not think himself a devotee. Instead, he always thinks that he has not even a drop of love for Krishna. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Now Prabhupada's quoting his guru, Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur. So it's very interesting how Prabhupada is following carefully in the footsteps of his guru. Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur comments that persons who are actually very poor because they possess not even a drop of love of Godhead or pure devotional service falsely advertise themselves as great devotees, although they cannot at any time relish the transcendental bliss of devotional service. A class of so-called devotees known as Prakrita Sahajias sometimes display devotional symptoms to exhibit their good fortune. We see that in many people in the ISKCON Guru elected system. They are pretending, however, because these devotional features are only external. The Prakrita Sahajias exhibit these symptoms to advertise their so-called advancement in love of Krishna. But instead of praising the Prakrita Sahajiya for their symptoms of transcendental ecstasy, pure devotees do not like to associate with them. It is not advisable to equate the Prakrita Sahajas with pure devotees. This is going on even today with the recent passing of one of our God brothers who's being advertised as a pure devotee. When one is actually advanced in ecstatic love of Krishna, he does not try to advertise himself. Instead, he endeavors more and more to render service to the Lord. The Prakrita Sahajas sometimes criticize pure devotees by calling them philosophers, learned scholars, knowers of the truth, or minute observers, but not devotees. On the other hand, they depict themselves as the most advanced, transcendentally blissful devotees, deeply absorbed in devotional service and mad to taste transcendental mellows. This is going on right in front of our very eyes, everyone. We just have to have the understanding to see it. They also describe themselves as the most advanced devotees in spontaneous love, as knowers of transcendental mellows, as the topmost devotees in conjugal love of Krishna, and so on. Just quickly, recently there was a sannyasi, a disciple of Jayadvaita Swami, and he was advertising after his death. He had a video that he put up online 17 days after his death. And he proclaimed that he had gone to Vrindavan, Goloka Vrindavan, and he was waiting for all of his disciples to join him there after they passed from their bodies. Not actually knowing the transcendental nature of love of God, they accept their material emotions to be indicative of advancement. In this way, they pollute the process of devotional service. To try to become writers of Vaishnava literature, they introduce their material conceptions of life into pure devotional service. This is going on. Because of their material conceptions, they advertise themselves as knowers of transcendental mellows, but they do not understand the transcendental nature of devotional service. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Yaśodā, maybe you could share a few comments.
Well, that's a very powerful description there, Prabhupada explaining the danger of these Prakrita Sahajas. And we know, unfortunately, how much of that nonsense philosophy has also infiltrated in our Acharya's society. That is the problem. Big problem. We see the symptoms. That's why we read selected passages from Srila Prabhupada where he clearly explains the nature of pure devotional service. The story of King Prithu was very important. Prabhupada has given us warnings not to pretend, not to pose. The posing and posturing will not help one advance or to preach Krishna consciousness. What we have in this purport that Vishwakarma read is another description that Srila Prabhupada, where he mercifully exposes the Prakrita Sahajas and their characteristics. So when one sees somebody who claims to be advanced or pretends to be advanced, one has to look at this purport and ask himself some questions. Mm-hmm. Simple. Just like we just read in the story of King Prithu, that Prabhupada says, as a person with a sense of honor and magnanimity does not like to hear about his abominable actions, a person who is very famous and powerful does not like to hear himself praised. But yet, we see that some individuals are trying to make institutional arrangements to get themselves praised. Actually, in the future, in the movement, this will be corrected. And one of the first things that will happen in a few moments in the future is exclusive, complete worship of Srila Prabhupada everywhere. None of this posing and posturing with neophytes sticking their pictures on the altar, claiming that the samsara para is being sung to them. No. Right now, they don't understand because they've not studied the philosophy. They've not studied the books. They've been poisoned. They've been inflicted with Maya, Pada, problem, profit, adoration, and distinction. And this fever to get worship is everywhere. We see it. The madness. This movement should have exclusive worship of Srila Prabhupada, only Prabhupada's picture on the altar with those of the previous acharyas, only Prabhupada's mantras when devotees pay their obeisances. The system of offering bhoga arti should be reestablished according to Srila Prabhupada's original instructions, which he implemented when he came to America. That in the future will be implemented sooner or later. Sooner or later it will happen. The Acharya will be established, will be reestablished. And those who object, you will become irrelevant in the dustbin of history. No one will care. Or it may take some time. The disease is very deep, but it will happen. Kindly note. Hare Krishna.
Yes, and very profound prophetic explanation of what will happen in the future. And I wanted to mention that in the Christian religion, it is interesting to note that despite the fact that they have thousands of different sects that preach Christianity, they recognize there is only one Jesus. How is that in this ISKCON movement of a few short years, this has become a confusion for many people? How is it that this poison, this cancer has spread so quickly throughout the mission of Lord Chaitanya? And I wanted to comment moving forward, we'll go to our panel of devotees for discussion, that Krishna Consciousness Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu told me a story about his visit to the San Diego temple 2 weeks ago. And he said that when he got there, there was a pujari offering to the deities there, arti. And what he did was, he went before he went to the altar, he went to a side altar or a side place and picked up a picture of some guru. Now, Krishna Consciousness wasn't sure who he was, one of 175, let's say. And he took this picture and put it on the altar. And then he offered the pranams to his guru and offered the prasadam, the bhoga, to him to offer to Krishna, not to Prabhupada. We're not sure who the person, this so-called guru, elected guru was, whether he follows the regulated principles, whether he chants his rounds, whether he is properly fixed at the Uttama-adhikari platform that he claims to be. But we know for sure he isn't. Not for sure 100%, but of course we don't even know who he is. Some kind of fake guru. And then, instead of playing Prabhupada's kirtan or bhajan for the deities, he put this Sahajiya's kirtan on with this kind of Krishna, this kind of bogus Sahajiya chanting, Ramo, Haribo. This kind of poison is there, all pervasive throughout the ISKCON world. And like you said, it will go away in due course of time because the truth cannot be stopped. And what is the truth? That Prabhupada is the bona fide spiritual master for everyone moving forward in his Vani incarnation. You know, it was interesting to note, Yaśodā, that one of these recent gurus that passed referred to Prabhupada as our Siksha Guru. And he put in his will that when people in his group became qualified, so-called, when they thought they were that advanced, they could also accept the position of Diksha Guru. This is poison, philosophical poison being permeated throughout this Vaishnava tradition by some kind of bold imposters. Krishna Kata, maybe you could make a few comments on today's discussion in San
Thank you,
Diego.
Prabhu. This is Hare Krishna. First of all, unlimited thank yous to you and Yaśodā for allowing me to come to this great group, and the devotees that are joining. Every day we are seeing
Yes.
devotees that are coming, and
Yep.
they are coming in the numbers that Prabhupada is pleased with, not in these thousands of cheap, blind followers. Not like that. Prabhupada never wanted that. These are serious devotees that when they hear the truth, immediately they lock in, like I am doing. Lalitanath and I cannot wait for these classes because they are our connection to our Parampara, our Guru Tattva, to our spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada. And yes, I can expand a little bit on this real-time example that you just gave regarding the San Diego temple. Anadi Prabhu up in Los Angeles, suffering greatly with so many bodily conditions. He's on dialysis 3 times a week. He has, 4 or 5 stents in his heart, and he's still serving Rukmini Dwarkadish on the altar with his skill set of, repair and marble work and this kind of thing. And so he relayed to Lalitanath that as you walk into the deity room behind the altar, there's a stack of these bogus guru pictures. So whoever's doing the pujari work, he'll, sift through this stack and find the picture of his paper hanging initiating guru and put it on the altar. So offensive. These are Prabhupada temples. His name is adorned on the front, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, as the founder. He is being minimized because these fakers are coming in and taking his glory, riding on his glory. And this is the essence that I am getting a realization about today's class, is that the cheapification and the minimization of the Jagat Guru, the real spiritual master for ISKCON, is just watered down. And so who is attracted to that? Cheap followers. And what is the relationship? Money, right? We see this at the temple in San Diego. Someone suddenly announces they have some wealth, and they're no longer interested in helping the sadhana of this jiva soul that is seeking the truth. They just want to tap into their bank account. This is happening. Yeah. So profit adoration distinction is a exact perfect description of where these people are coming from. They're only interested in these things. And the purports and the verses read today are clear that no one can see on the battlefield what is happening between Arjuna and Krishna. Krishna is revealing, giving the eyes to Arjuna. And in the same way, we can see what's happening to Srila Prabhupada's movement because we have been given the eyes through Prabhupada's purports, through the knowledge that Prabhupada predicted this would happen. So the very people that we used to criticize back in the early days, like, oh, this bogus yogi and this nonsense mystic yogi is producing this, and it's such a miracle. And we would, be so fortunate that we were taking shelter of Prabhupada. But now those very bogus yogi gurus that we were criticizing in the early days have now taken over our movement. It's just unbelievable what's happening. And I pray that more devotees can be blessed with this program of the Prabhupada Disciples Association and the Hare Krishna Society. So if anyone listening and hears this either now or on YouTube knows of devotees that are disconnected, reach out to them and give them the links to the YouTube channel and have them join so that they can receive these live Zoom classes, because these are the devotees we are anxious to bring back to Prabhupada, because they are hankering for this nectar, as I am. Thank you so much for letting me speak. And one more time, here's the books we are printing. Here's the treasures that Srila Prabhupada brought with him to the United States back in 1965. And thank you for donating to this amazing campaign, everyone. Much appreciated. We'll get these out hopefully soon. We'll announce when we're shipping.
Thank you. Yeah, it's interesting to note, everyone, that the use of technology that exists now in 2024 has revolutionized the opportunity for us to communicate with people throughout the world and to propagate the truth. It was very interesting to note that back in the 70s, it was very difficult. And there was no internet. It was snail mail. So if you wanted to do something, it would take you weeks to resolve an organizational issue. Like, for example, arranging a mortgage for the Toronto Temple. That would go on for months by phone calls and letters, because everything had to be, processed that way. You call, and then you'd send a letter, and then you'd wait a week and you get a letter back. And nowadays, technology has given us this city where we can communicate with people globally and transmit truth without all of the obstacles that delayed us back in the past. For example, the old system of Sankirtan, where you get up, you would go out on the street, like here in Hamilton these days, you can go on the street. There's nobody there, by the way, just a bunch of homeless bums in the downtown core. You can go preach to them. I see people are out trying to perform Sankirtan on the streets, 1 or 2 people, or 3 or 4. Some of them are dressed up in traditional garb, some of them just wearing baseball hats and beards, and whatever, clunking along, not in a really sophisticated manner of chanting. It's because everybody wants to show how good of a singer they are, or leader of the kirtan. Say, you get a chance, I can go out on the street, publicly demonstrate how good I am. So these things go on, but think about what we're doing, that we're using technology to facilitate reaching, say, Pierangelo. I think you're in Italy somewhere. We're reaching you. We're reaching, whereabouts are you? Where?
Switzerland. Geneva,
Oh, he's in Switzerland. Thank you. And then we're reaching Janis Priya in Hawaii right now. And then we've got Dharma Bhavana in Dallas, Texas. We got Joe Felice in Hamilton. And Chaitanya Ram in Edmonton. and all of the wonderful devotees that come here to associate together in a very potent environment. For example, let me give you an example, Prabhus. When we used to go to class back in India in the 70s, when Srila Prabhupada was speaking, a lot of us were so exhausted from the journey, we're so exhausted from the program that we were following, that when we get to the class, a lot of times people had to pinch themselves to stay awake and keep their concentration. It was difficult, trust me. And so nowadays you can, at your leisure, listen to Prabhupada lectures when you're bright and aware of what's being said, and do a careful analysis of Prabhupada's words to get a real understanding of his message. So, is this a good thing? Yes, it is. Would you prefer to be falling asleep in front of the spiritual master? Or would you prefer to be listening attentively to his Vani incarnation, far superior in a certain way? And this is our opportunity. And here we have these classes, along with your other sadhana programs, your chanting of your rounds, your reading of the books, you're listening to the lectures, you're coming to the over 300 classes that we've been producing for the last over 2 years, and we keep going forward with. And you have a chance to feel transcendentally connected even in 2024 by the dovetailing of technology in this service. This is a real blessing. It's a yogic city. This is not just something that's petty. It's actually very potent. And the ability for us to proliferate these classes to other people should be part of our program. Like I said earlier, we only have like 13 or 1400 people on the YouTube subscription. This is not at all potent. This is impotent, considering, a lot of karmis have millions of subscribers to their petty materialistic life, and we hardly have anyone. There are thousands, tens of thousands of people that are searching for the truth, and we hope that our membership, like Jonas Priya always mentions, please invite one person per month to this class, and this will be the spreading of the mission of the Prabhupada Disciples Association, Hare Krishna Society, through our own personal networks. It's a very important thing to preach to others and help them wherever you are become devotees. Give them the whole process. Some people ask me, well, how do I do this? Well, it's through time management. You have to manage your time, because some of us have to work every day. So that takes a lot of time. We're working at this, but it doesn't mean we don't have any time. Of course we have time, and if we learn to effectively use our time and our focus on this mission, then we'll see the proliferation of the truth step by step, and then the rectification of the society according to what Prabhupada wanted and according to what Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu prophetically introduced today in this program, that Prabhupada will be restored as the bona fide spiritual master in the Sankirtan movement in the future, in due course of time. They cannot stop this. They can criticize us, they can character assassinate us, they can beat us, they can reject the dissenters. This goes on, but they cannot stop the truth. And I wanted Ron Singh, if he could comment further on these. Are you in a position to speak, Ron? In Sacramento, California. Bhakta Ron Singh. How about Dharma Bhavana in Dallas, Texas? Maybe you could share a few thoughts with us today. Dharma Bhavana, there's his face.
Yeah. I like the beautiful description from Srimad Bhagavatam, fourth canto, about King Prithu. I just want to describe how thank you for all your classes. A lot of effort must go into it all during the week for so many preparatory hours. And just thinking how about 15 years ago, I went to a local temple, and I asked the head pujari, we were speaking in front of in the temple room, look, the pujaris are offering the prayers and food kind of directly to the deities and not through the parampara. And the head pujari said, oh, yes, that's the new way we do it now. And I didn't make any big, long conversation about it, but I came to understand that there's not any kind of independent thinking, that you just do what you're told to do without thinking how you can make some major change like this. Because when you offer things to deities, that's what deity worship is, from offering a bell, water, foodstuffs, flowers, waking them up in the morning with prayers. It's such an important thing how the deity worship is being done. And if we are just told to make a change without any reason behind it and just doing it without thinking, that to me was like a fundamental realization that something is not right. Anyway, thank you, Haribol.
Yaśodā, Prabhu, maybe you could give a few comments to finalize the session today.
Well, what Dharma Bhavana mentioned is a very important point. Because once a deviation occurs, especially in the deity worship and all of these procedures that Prabhupada is giving, then where does it stop? It's like Prabhupada wrote a letter in the mid-1970s to one devotee, and he indicated the greatest danger to our movement is when we invent new ways of worshiping the deities. I'm paraphrasing here. Prabhupada has given everything. All we have to do is follow the instruction. But as Prabhupada mentioned many times, the disease with you Americans is the change disease. They want to change everything all the time. And it's a big problem. In 1977, one time, Prabhupada requested a devotee to go to Mathura to a specific pharmacy. He told him to get a specific medicine. He indicated how much price he should pay, and he told him to do that. So the devotee went to Mathura, he went to the wrong pharmacy, got the wrong medicine, and overpaid. He came back to Prabhupada, and Prabhupada told him, this is the disease with you people, changing everything. Why did you change the instruction? Do not change. So this is the problem. Prabhupada has given instruction how to do the deity worship, how to offer the bhoga to the deities. And here comes along this self-appointed acharyas who invent this new way of worshiping, claiming that they're following the Shastra. I don't know what Shastra they think they follow. You can't be following the Shastra if you disobey the Acharya. Gurur avagnya. If you disobey the Acharya, you're not following Shastra. The tradition is established by the Acharya, not in the recesses of your speculative brain. No. The process is to follow the Acharya. Acharyavan Purusho Veda from the Chandogya Upanishad. Acharyopasanam Shaucham from Bhagavad-gītā. One should worship the Acharya. One should follow the Acharya. You cannot change the instruction of the Acharya in thinking and inventing that you're following. That's complete delusion. It's complete madness. Same thing with these book changes. Anybody who is engaged in changing the books, distributing these books, reading from these changed books, you're cutting off your connection with Srila Prabhupada. You are disrespecting Srila Prabhupada. You are disobeying Srila Prabhupada. You're cutting off your relationship with the Acharya. Thank you very much. I believe Puranjan is somewhere on the crowd there. You may ask him to pass a few comments.
One thing is, this is an offense to disobey. There are 10 offenses in chanting Hare Krishna, as we know, and we should read them at the next session. But the offense of disobeying the order of the spiritual master is called hatimata, mad elephant offense. And it's a very serious issue. that's going on without any mention in that group. For example, there's a picture of one of these self-appointed, self-elected, whatever, so-called gurus, and he had a chair built in the temple room. Of course, he could say, oh, well, my disciples built it. Well, does that mean that you're going to allow them to build a Vyasa-san twice as big as Srila Prabhupada's Vyasa-san in the temple room, and you sit on it beside Srila Prabhupada, who sits on a small seat? Is it because your disciples made you do it? Or you didn't give them the proper instruction on how to present yourself in front of your guru, in front of others? Well, the fault is with you, my friend. You so-called God brother that's taking this role as Diksha Guru. That's your fault. Now, someone could look at that and say, that's fault finding. That's not. That's a picture that was taken by one of his disciples, and it exposes the whole reality of this bogus guru system and these fake people that are pretending to be on the level or beyond the level of their own guru, right in their own guru's temple. Who's crazy here? Who's insane? In fact, this material world is an insane asylum, there's no question. And everybody is one of the inmates on many levels, whether it's the material society that we live in, which is completely crazy, and then you move forward into the so-called Vaishnava community, and you see all the madness here. It's so much madness. It's actually can be in one sense, quite depressing, because you're thinking, oh, I've joined a great movement. How come it's so insane? So that's why we recommend chant your rounds, read the books, attend the classes, perform your deity worship, offer your food correctly to Krishna, take shelter of this process, and you will find transcendental bliss and happiness. In the Prabhupada Disciples Association, Hare Krishna Society methodology. Yes, you will. Oh, glories to the Sankirtan movement. Yaśodā, is Mr. Lee here?
Yeah, hi, Bo.
Yeah,
Hi,
go ahead,
Bo,
Mr.
Ranjan.
Lee. Go ahead,
Hey,
Mr.
hi,
Lee.
Bo. Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
have a. Hello? Can you hear
Yes,
me?
go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
Go ahead. We hear
brother.
you.
Of course
Okay.
we hear you.
Well, it's funny. I have an atheist lady friend, and she likes to tease me about being a hairy critter. But her idea is that God, if there is a God, he's very cruel, because every living entity that she sees is suffering. So God caused and therefore she goes way out of her way not to harm any living entity, because she doesn't want to become the thing she hates the most. Don't be cruel to anyone. And so she's the kindest person, the nicest person you ever want to meet. In many ways, she's nicer than most of the devotees, because she treats me very respectfully and nicely. She's very favorable and friendly when she sees me, whereas many devotees see me, they grimace and they have a horrible expression and they're not happy to see me. So she is in some ways more advanced, but that's the right idea. Do not become what you hate, and that's what's happened to ISKCON. We hated the bogus yogis, we hated the illicit sex gurus, the intoxicated gurus, all these deviations. That's what we hated the most, and we despised that and rejected that. And then we became that. We became the very thing we hated the most. So it's like a lesson, for all of us. It's a very dangerous thing, and she's very aware of that. Do not become the thing you hate, because it's very possible that you'll fall and slip into that. And then that's what's happened to ISKCON. And then people go, wait, what happened? What happened to ISKCON? Well, it became what everyone had rejected. So it's very sad, but this happens in throughout history. The Gaudiya Math, they hated all the Mayavadis and the Sahajas, and then they became the worst Mayavadis and Sahajas themselves. All right, hi, Bo.
Hare Krishna. I just wanted to, close out the discussion today to discuss a bit about dissenting. I had a chance to look it up on Google, and you can look up dissenters. A dissenter is a person that's part of a corporation or a part of a religious group or a part of an organization where they don't agree with the policies of the management and the members of the group overall. Now, how is it looked upon, even from the karmi point of view, to view a dissenter? Well, in the karmi world, they appreciate it. They don't look down on it because it's a stimulant for that organization to look at itself constructively and make improvements. Interesting, eh? So we come forward with this point of change books. Oh, don't read the change books. And if you go to Alachua, they kick you out of the temple if you decide to use the original Bhagavad-gītā as the book that you want to read from in the class. They kick you out. They don't discuss it. There's no dialogue. Why you wanted to prefer this book over the change books by Jayadvaita and Dravida. They kick you out. Not only do they kick you out, they banish you. Oh yeah. And they defame you. They go around and talk rumors, point out all your mistakes that you've made in your life, and do character assassination. And on it goes, as many different techniques that these small-minded people can utilize, they will against you. And then you'll become labeled as a dissenter, a person that's poison and should be avoided at all costs. And this is what happened in Sacramento with Ron Singh. He's a dissenter. Instead of embracing him, they beat him. Yes, last week he was beaten because he was trying to point out certain philosophical issues that they can't tolerate, that they can't defend. So instead of trying to articulate it philosophically with dialogue, they'll beat you. And even in the case that Krishna Katha, our God brother, is a direct witness to, they will commit the most heinous crimes. This is going on even today. Dissension is a license for banishment in that movement. And we have to be very careful. Be very careful when you associate with these people, because some fanatics may retaliate against you because you're speaking the truth. And this is a warning for all of us. Be careful. Haribol, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. We'll move forward with the chanting of Hare Krishna by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. We'll probably hear him playing the bongo maybe in this chant, because he didn't have a mridanga back then. And then we'll have the Vanchakalpa prayers led by Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu. And we look forward to seeing you again tomorrow at Srimad Bhagavatam class, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time in Canada and the United States. And we'll carry on with this transcendental mission to protect Srila Prabhupada's legacy. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Let us offer our respectful obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and were full of compassion for the fallen souls. Thanks everybody for participating. A very brief announcement. Thank to Bhakta Rupesh Prabhu in India who managed the program. Thank you. That was very nice of you, Prabhu. On Tuesday of this week, according to the Mayapur calendar, is the disappearance day of Jayananda Prabhu. And next Wednesday is the appearance of Lord Narasimha Dev, Narasimha Chaturdasi. We'll be fasting for most of the day on that day. So we invite everybody to participate tomorrow for Srimad Bhagavatam and next week We will also discuss some things about Jayananda and Lord Narasimha for the Wednesday Chaitanya Charitamrita class. Thanks, everybody, with your participation, your comments, and all glories to His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, the current Acharya of the Krishna Consciousness movement. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Padakamalam Sri Gurum Vaishnava Vangsha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathannitam Tang Sajivam Sadaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya